All right, PC3, last discussion, question number 5. We got a guy that's been ejected from a multi-vehicle collision accident. We arrive on scene, fire's doing CPR. They confirm that he's pulseless and apneic. They prepare for intubation. Because of massive facial injuries, intubation is impossible. It's not possible to maintain airway adequately through ventilation, so they do a cryo. The other medic gets 2 large bore IVs. First round of medications are administered. They get the cryo. It's patent and good. They transport him to the helicopter, pass him off, and that's kind of where it ends. Pass off to the helicopter. Helicopter takes him. So what precautions against infectious disease should the paramedics have followed in this scenario? Real quick, masks, gloves, and eye protection. Especially with COVID right now, you'll want a mask. During this specifically, though, because they're suctioning and because I don't know how controlled or active the facial trauma is, or if there's any other trauma, I guess they would have told me if not, but if there was any other trauma, you'd want a gown, but also because you're intubating and possibly you're most likely going to have to suction a massive facial trauma if you're trying to intubate somebody, and if it's that bad that you can't get an intubation because of it, you most likely are suctioning, so you'll want a gown according to protocols. I don't know that I've ever really seen very many people wear a gown, but just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean that it's not best practice. Then also, right now with our current state with Corona or the COVID-19, a respirator would be better than a facial mask. Even an N95, you'd want something more sealed off. I think best for us is on the fire department where we're at. We'd use our SCBA facial masks with a filter cartridge that connects to it instead of the air cartridge, or we would just use a tank air, completely isolate it. But you would want something that really seals off and does a good job because of COVID, and especially because you're intubating. The intubation will aerosolize. I think that's a word. Will basically break up the water droplets in the lungs and then distribute them out into the area that you're in. And if you're, I know you're outside, so it's a little bit better, but still, yet it would be best to have something more than just a facial mask. The next question is what infectious diseases might the crew or medic one have been exposed to from this patient? So obviously because of the blood contact and the possible body fluids, we have HIV, Hep B, C, and D. Also, if the person's spitting up or anything like that, or was coughing before you arrived on scene, we're not sure about the crew before that. Hepatitis A or E could also, because of oral transmission. Tuberculosis, because of the possibility of the droplets in the air, if that person had tuberculosis. Pneumonia, not really, probably because according to what I've read, that it's not as contagious. If you come in just want contact with one person, you're probably not going to get it. It's a possibility, yes, you could come in contact with it, but the chances of getting it, not so much. I mean, we could go through everything. Ebola, probably not, but it is a possibility if you had direct broken skin contact with other broken skin contact. So if you had any cuts or anything like that, it's real important to keep those covered up. If there were mosquitoes out there, we could have the Zika virus or the chikungunya, I don't know how to say it, virus. Meningitis is also possible because of the water droplets, because of the aerosolization from the intubation. Measles, mumps, and rubella, if they don't have their vaccines, which most medical people are required to have those vaccines before they get into it, but you never know what the person might have. Cold, whatever other, just a common cold, or if the person has the flu or something like that. Also, there's a lot of different things, but mostly because of the blood contact, because of anything you can get through the suctioning, the water droplets, the blood contact. If you're not covered up correctly, really any of those things, if the person has it, is the option. And unfortunately, it's we kind of get complacent to believe that most people aren't that kind of sick whenever we come on them and we run something completely different, such as this motor vehicle accident. Why do you have to be worried about AIDS? The blood and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's because you never know what kind of infectious disease your patient might have.